When I was a young boy, I used to see jubilant and brave Eritrean freedom fighters in my village. Their friendly manner and determination was extraordinary. I dreamed to be like them, or do something good for my beloved country like those fighters. I am an Eritrean, and I say so proudly. Eritrea is a home to 9 ethnic groups and the nation of heroes and heroines of the Eritrean freedom fighters. Visit Eritrea and you'll be mesmerized by its vivid panorama from the road along the sea to the cool mountains. Visitors are always thrilled by the Eritrean people's hospitality and warm welcoming faces. But Eritrea is a country with a complicated past. This beautiful nation has been a victim of many colonizers, including Italy and its neighbor, Ethiopia. After World War II, almost all of the countries in Africa got their independence, but Eritrea was federated along with Ethiopia, making one country out of 2. It was a decision made by the United Nations and the United States against the wishes of the Eritrean people.
This in Federal Resolution 390A-V, as it is called, was more or less a feeble federation under the Emperor of Haile Selassie. We didn't agree with this. We stayed about 10 years under the federation, but Haile Selassie again didn't keep his word, and he annexed Eritrea to be one of his provinces. This was in 1962. Eritreans tried in several means to peacefully demonstrate their views and get their independence, but for about 10 years. But it was not possible, therefore they were forced to raise arms. From 1961 to 1991, we had an armed struggle for independence for 30 solid years.
For Eritreans, all peaceful avenues were closed. They wished for independence, and it was left to the Eritreans themselves to liberate their country. Peaceful demonstration did not work, so Eritreans were forced into armed struggle. They fought for 30 exhausting years. It was one of the longest and bloodiest wars in the world. During these 30 years of armed struggle, the Eritrean economy and its infrastructure suffered greatly. Many innocent people of Eritrea were killed, wounded, and greatly oppressed under the harsh rules of the occupying Ethiopian authorities. Their livestock were killed, their houses were destroyed, and they were terrorized by Ethiopian fighter jets. Eritreans were exposed to hunger. They became dependent on Westerners for food aid. Nevertheless, the Eritrean forces, consisting of 30% female fighters, were resilient and always ready and willing to commit the ultimate sacrifice to liberate their own country. They fought with courage. Eritrea became a graveyard of the invading forces. Finally, in 1991, the heroic Eritrean People Liberation Front, known as EPLF, defeated the occupying Ethiopian forces gaining control over the whole country. After 30 years of armed revolution, Eritreans achieved total independence and the right to self-determination. This freedom had not come without sacrifice. Eritrean fighters had bled and sacrificed for the love of their country and for salvation of their people. Soon after independence, the Eritreans conducted a successful referendum. But to the Eritreans, this referendum means...
This referendum was as such meaningless for Eritreans. But it was a pro forma or diplomatic courtesy to show the international community that our people deserve and wanted independence right from the first people.
Years of war left Eritrea devastated, but the proud people of Eritrea are known for their hard work and determination. After independence, Eritreans began to rebuild the country. The towns and the cities, the rural areas and the villages of Eritrea began to rise from the dust. The country's economy showed dramatic improvement. The Ethiopians desired to have the Red Sea as their territory would never die. Once again, a senseless war started. Eritreans were interrupted from moderating the nation by the unwanted war. Instead, they started to build defenses, trenches. The fearless and tireless young Eritreans, along with veteran freedom fighters, marched side by side to safeguard the nation. Eritreans, regardless of their differences and the desire for peace, they are always ready to safeguard their country. The Ethiopians come with their full power. Fortunately, Eritrea is always a graveyard for the invading forces. Like in other battles, Eritrean defensive forces came out victorious. The unfortunate young Ethiopian soldiers perished for the self-motive of Ethiopian leaders. This war cost a huge amount of time and money. The hard-earned economy of Eritrea started to be eaten up by the war. Yet, Eritreans are working for peace without losing hope to end the standoff with Ethiopia.
We are working very hard diplomatically to solve the problem, and we are insisting day and night to the UN Security Council to shoulder their responsibility, and we will work hard as much as we can to convince them, and so that they will come out with a UN Security Council resolution that can force Ethiopia to implement it. Ethiopians are violating rule of law. Wherever you go, rule of law is very important, very necessary for everybody to comply with rule of law. We hope we will be seeing soon the demarcation of Eritrea, so that once for all we will have a peaceful country.
የኛ አካባቢ የሆርን ኦፍ አፍሪካ አካባቢ በተለይ የኢትዮጵያ የኤርትራ የሚወሰነው ስቴት ዲፓርትመንት አይደለም፣ ሲአይኤም አይደለም፣ ዋይት ሃውስ ነው። ዋይት ሃውስ ውስጥ ደግሞ ባለቤቱ ሚስስ ሱዛን ራይስ ነች። ሚስስ ሱዛን ራይስ ደግሞ ፐርሰናል የሆነ የግል የሆነ ጠብ አላት ከፕሬዚዳንት ኢሳያስ ጋር። በዛ ተነስታ ለአቶ መለስ ያልተቆጠበ ድጋፍ ሰጥታለች። ከእሳቸው ጋር ያልተቆጠበ ትብብር አድርጋለች።
This resolution underscores the international community's condemnation of Eritrea's destabilizing behavior in the Horn and its support for terrorism.
The UN Security Council has today passed a shameful resolution imposing sanctions against Eritrea. But this is not their first time. From this building and the plenary General Assembly in 1950, then Secretary of State of United States, John Foster Dulles, stated that in the eyes of justice, Eritrea should have been given its independence. But because of our interest, we have decided to federate Eritrea with our ally, Ethiopia. And because of that time, of that action, that resolution, Eritrea suffered for 40 solid years. Eritreans fought for 30 solid years and came out victorious militarily.
Do you see any evidence, for example, of Eritrea supporting al-Shabaab at this time?
It did not come up, and I have seen no evidence of Eritrea supporting al-Shabaab, no.
Eritrea's case is quite different. I do not believe it has allowed the imposition of the will of other superpowers on it. And for that it is paying a price, a very serious price.
Under Hillary's leadership, we're doing more than ever with our annual trafficking report, with new outreach and partnerships, to give countries incentives to meet their responsibilities and calling them out when they don't. I recently renewed sanctions on some of the worst abusers, including North Korea and Eritrea.
U.S. is unable really to be a neutral party in the Ethiopian and Eritrea dispute.
Eritrea did achieve a lot of progress on a number of those MDGs, particularly the health-related goals 4, 5, and 6, and in the areas of infant mortality, access to clean drinking water, the whole question of safe births and so forth.
And one of the things that this government requires of its people in Eritrea, and women serving in military are forbidden from getting pregnant. On the other hand, though, army officers, male officers, have the right to have sex with these female soldiers at will. In fact, this is not considered rape, yet they are not supposed to get pregnant.
We have seen that the media are really lying about Eritrea.
When there's good things, they never tell it, they hide it. And more than that, they are lying on it. I have read, because Grégoire, I've worked a lot about all the propaganda it is done against Eritrea.
However, Eritreans are always finding a way to celebrate their hard-won independence.
Marcus the ተወርዋሪ